Imagine a man who had everything, wealth, status, and power, yet he couldn't trust the one person who silently served him day after day. And imagine a woman, poor yet proud, who carried wounds that money could never heal. What happens when suspicion meets innocence and a trap reveals something far more powerful than greed? Stay with me till the end, because this story will not just surprise you, it may even change the way you look at people forever. The story begins with Mr. Armin, a millionaire whose mansion stood like a palace in the heart of the city. To the outside world, he was successful, respected, and untouchable. But behind the marble walls and expensive chandeliers, he lived with an emptiness only he knew. Years of betrayal had hardened his heart. Business partners who stole from him, relatives who tried to take advantage of him, and friends who disappeared the moment his money was at risk. Trust was something he no longer believed in. Even the people who worked for him, the cooks, drivers, and maids, he paid them generously. But in his heart, suspicion followed every gesture they made. Among them was Miriam, a maid in her late 30s. She wasn't like the others. She was quiet, almost invisible, and did her work with a devotion that confused Armin. She never asked for favors, never complained, and never showed interest in the wealth around her. But that only made Armin more suspicious. No one is that clean, he thought. Maybe she's just waiting for the right moment. And so his mind began to form a cruel test. One evening after everyone had left, Armin unlocked his massive safe and left it wide open in his study. Inside, stacks of currency, gold bars, and important documents lay exposed, glittering under the soft yellow light. He adjusted the hidden camera in the corner of the room, then called Miriam upstairs. His voice was calm, but his mind was racing. If she's truly honest, I'll know tonight. And if not, I'll finally confirm what I always believed: no one can resist money. Miriam entered the room, her footsteps gentle on the marble floor. Armin pretended to be on a call and walked out, leaving her alone with the open safe. Minutes passed. The camera recorded every second as Miriam paused by the study table, her eyes glancing toward the shining treasure. Her hands trembled slightly as she moved closer. For Armin, watching from another room, it felt like his heart was pounding in his throat. He whispered to himself, "Here it is, the truth." But what Miriam did next wasn't something he or anyone could have predicted. She looked at the open safe for a long while, then sat down on the floor beside it. Slowly, she pulled out an old photograph from her pocket. It was a faded picture of two children, her children. She pressed it against her chest, and tears streamed down her face. With a trembling voice, she began to speak, though no one was there to listen. "If only I had this kind of wealth, my daughter wouldn't be denied her medicine. My son wouldn't have to skip school to work. But this isn't mine. Stealing it won't heal them. It will only make me the thief they'll be ashamed of. I've already lost so much. I can't lose their respect too." She wiped her tears, stood up, and carefully closed the safe door with her own hands before leaving the room. Armin was frozen. He had seen many things in his life: betrayal, lies, selfishness, but never this. He replayed the footage again and again, each time feeling his chest tighten. The maid he suspected had shown a strength greater than his wealth. And for the first time in years, he felt something he had forgotten: shame followed by respect. The next morning, Armin called Miriam into his study. She walked in nervously, her eyes lowering as always. He tried to speak, but his voice cracked. Instead of accusing her, he pushed the safe key toward her and whispered, "Last night, you taught me something money never could. You taught me what honesty really looks like." Tears welled in his eyes as he continued, "I left that safe open to trap you. But it was me who was trapped by my own mistrust, my own bitterness. Forgive me." Miriam stood in silence, unsure of how to respond. She didn't know that her quiet strength had just changed a millionaire's heart. From that day on, Armin's life was never the same. He began to trust again, not blindly, but with a renewed belief that goodness still existed in the world. He helped Miriam's children with their education and medical care, not out of pity, but out of respect. And Miriam, though grateful, continued her work with the same humility she always carried. The mansion, once filled with suspicion, now carried a new energy, a warmth that wealth alone had never been able to create. And Armin, he often told his friends, The greatest treasure I ever found wasn't in my safe. It was in the heart of someone I almost doubted. Because sometimes the richest people are not those who have the most money, but those who carry honesty, dignity, and love, qualities that no safe in the world can ever hold.